Hey, Chief Ruckus Maker here, Danny Bauer from Better Leaders, Better Schools. And I wanted to go live real quick and turn this now into a podcast to talk about the principal success path, right? Unless you're living under a rock, I have been talking about a program I'm super excited about. This is the third cohort that we are going live with. The first two that started in the summer of 21, two cohorts have already existed. Over 50 leaders have gone through it and really benefited from the program. So some of you may be thinking right now, right? A legit concern is, do I even want to continue school leadership? We can help you figure that out. We could help reignite, that flame you may have lost. Some people are thinking, help, I just got hired, right? So maybe you're a first year principal for the first time. So shout out to Emma, who I spoke with, and I know she's all in for the principal success path. Brand new principal, right? A lot to learn. We're here to support her. Or maybe you're moving to a new community, right? And so you're like starting over again in some respects. So we can help with that. Some other concerns that people have these days, right? Hey, what books are they going to ban from my school library this year, right? That's kind of wild. And just from like a cultural commentary, we probably, don't want to emulate societies or points in history that were banning, burning books. Like, not a good look, but it's a reality of some schools these days. And so that's something we'll talk about in the path. Maybe you're wondering if you're going to get fired if you take on the idea of equity. Maybe you, like me, care about creating an experience for all students where they can succeed, but that's a buzzword these days. And there's wild people that will come to real board meetings and cause quite a stir, right? And try to get you fired. So that might be a problem. Yes, Principal Success Path can help. And then finally, maybe you just want to start the year off with energy and momentum, right? And if that's something that you are looking for, and how do I do that in a systematic way? Principal Success Path, I'm telling you, is the solution. Our promise is simple. If you join the Principal Success Path, you will become a better leader in 5 weeks or less. You could test us on that. We back it with the Ruckus Maker guarantee. And what that means is if you show up, if you do the projects that we assign, take action on the ideas that we teach, and you can honestly say, hey, I didn't grow. You get 100% of that investment back. I take on all that risk. I love doing that because it puts the pressure on me. It puts the pressure on Better Leaders, Better Schools to over deliver on your experience. And we are so confident that you will grow. We make these bold claims. If you have been following my work for a while, and especially like free resources, and this is a free resource, the blogs, the articles, the podcasts, the downloads, right? I commonly say my free stuff is better than most people's paid stuff. And so that's why I could confidently back the Principal Success Path with something like the Ruckus Maker guarantee. I know you're going to grow. It's going to happen. That's what I do. All right, cool. Well, so one of the things I want to talk about is, listen, there's a thing called Parkinson's law, right? And recently I had a coaching call for myself with my coach, Ron, and we were talking about just like how to optimize my performance a bit. I was frustrated. I wasn't getting done everything I want to get done. And it took a half hour to get there. We figured it out at the end. When I'm doing videos, because you may have seen some ads on Facebook, for example, or on Instagram. And I'm trying that out because, listen, I feel a burden. My heart is to connect, grow, and mentor every school leader who wants to level up. So I need to find the others. I need to find leaders who identify with being a ruckus maker, thinking out of the box, right? And making change happen in education. So anyways, when I'm creating these videos, I have really been overthinking it, which is crazy. Like this podcast, we're live. I'm just going with it, speaking, from my intuition, from my heart, from my gut, and it comes out just fine. And for some reason, when I'm not live or when I'm not creating a podcast, when I'm creating these videos, really that are only 90 seconds long, I'll do like 20, 30 takes and spend hours obsessing over it, right? That I'm pretty sure is Parkinson's law, which just states, given, a time constraint, a task, a project will expand to that constraint, to that boundary. So therefore, if you don't have any time-bound constraints, you could be doing stuff forever. That's why Cameron Herold, in his infinite wisdom, when he says how to level up your meetings, he says if you think a meeting should be an hour, schedule it for a half hour. half hour, schedule 15 minutes. He says cut it in half. You'll be surprised by how much you get done. Now, I share that story and share what I'm learning and what Coach Ron helped me figure out is that, listen, as a school leader, you are legit stretched, right? There's a lot of stuff to do. And many of you are thinking, do I have time to add something like the Principal Success Path, a 5-week program, probably somewhere between, I say safely, like 6 to 10 hours of commitment per week? Do I have time for that additionally as a principal? Well, yeah, if you build some constraints around it, right? And you'll be amazed at what you could accomplish, right, within 5 weeks, and then life continues as usual. I will say, Gene, a principal in New Jersey, who took this at the end of the spring last year as school was winding down, he said, I've never been able to get so much done. And I'm going to talk about Gene a little later in a second. So why is now the best time to join the Principal Success Path? We all know the Chinese proverb, right? The best time to plant a tree was 20 years ago. The second best time is right now, today, right? Dan Pink wrote a book called When. He actually was on my podcast, right? New York Times bestseller. And we talked about his book, When. And in that book, he talks about this concept called a temporal landmark, right? A temporal landmark. What is that? When you turn 40, right? 18th birthday, these type of things. The New Year's, people make all sorts of new commitments and that kind of stuff. Well, starting off the school year, that's also a temporal landmark. So now's a great time to join because there is no other time to plan a great year than right now. So if you want to start the year with energy and momentum, again, we are going to help with that. Okay. If you want to join the landing page, the place where you can fill out the application, I should say, is go to betterleadersbetterschools.com/success. That'll bring you to betterleadersbetterschools.com Principal Success Path, all one word. But it's just easier to tell you to go to betterleadersbetterschools.com/success so you can fill out the application. Okay. All right. So what is the Principal Success Path built on? It's built on 4 steps. They are quite easy. Number 1 is mindset. So we teach you how to develop a ruckus maker mindset so you can consistently show up as your best self at work, right? So that's 1. Moving on to 2, that has to do with design. So how do the best school leaders use intentional design? Can you relate to this? Being, a reactive leader. So we teach you through design to turn from reactive to being a proactive leader, right? If you spend a majority of your time putting out fires, running around the building, all that kind of stuff, what Edward Deming would say is that, basically the results you get are perfect because it's based on the system you've designed, right? I'm paraphrasing, but that's what he said. The system you design gets the results it gets. So if you want to be a proactive leader, it has to do with design. I could show you how to be a proactive leader. Okay. That's the second step, design. Moving on to the third. The third is culture. So at this point, since 2015, I've coached and mentored hundreds of school leaders, and they have thrived with my mentorship. And here's what I know about those best-in-class leaders. They know something about building a world-class culture. So we teach those things, right, within the Principal Success Path. So if your culture could use a boost, right, we'll show you how to do just that within the community. So that's it with step 3. Moving on to the last step, step 4. Step 4 has to do with results. So how do you consistently create results that, and this is important, that you can be proud of the progress that you made, right? We all create results every single day. But when you reflect back, are you super proud of what you did? We can show you how to do just that. So again, in review, it has to do with mindset, design, culture, and results. That is what the Principal Success Path is built on. But don't just take it from me, right? The last cohort, and remember I said I'd bring Gene back into this conversation. So halfway through the Principal Success Path, I said at this point, you're not even done, right? You're just two and a half weeks into this 5-week program. How have you grown? How has your perspective changed, right? How have you become a better leader? I was really just so honored to hear from a number of leaders that, shared what their legit experience was like. Troy, who's an AP in Colorado, said, I was able to step back, right, and think of my own professional development. At this point, he said he felt like he was just going through the motions, doing his job without a lot of deep reflection. But we know that reflection builds self-awareness. Self-awareness builds emotional intelligence. Emotional intelligence means that you are an effective leader, right? The more that you grow that. So for him, it was going through the motions versus learning from the things that he was doing and becoming a more effective leader. Erin told me that she was held more accountable, and all the projects that she wanted to get done, the things she wanted to prioritize, she finally did because of the projects and the way the system is set up in the principal success path. Fred, he talked about how he deeply reflected on his leadership, just like Troy. But what he said that I really appreciated was that not only did he become a better leader professionally, he became a better leader for his family. Wow, isn't that important? Okay, Gene, I said I would bring him back into the conversation. He said that the path taught me that deep work is doable. I just had to commit to it, right? Delivering, shipping the projects forced me to focus on what was most important. Tiffany, who is actually Troy's principal in Colorado, she said that I got to focus on what I wanted to see happen. So just like Erin was able to prioritize the things she said was important, and then she said, my AP gets to make it happen. So kind of a meta level teaching here from Tiffany. One, she knows her strength, right? She's a visionary. And so she needs to surround herself with operational minded people that could execute on the vision. And she has that partnership with Troy. They are a dynamic duo, which brings me to that second point. There are a number of teams, principals and APs, that have gone through the principal success path. So when you fill out your application at betterleadersbettersschools.com/success or /principal success path, it goes to the same place. You could just put in the anything else part of the application, I actually would like to sign up my team. And I'll tell you this, I will make it like a really special deal just for you, because I'm on a mission to connect, grow, and mentor every leader who wants to level up. So if that's multiple people, we'll give you a break on the investment and we'll make it worth your while. Okay, the last two case study ideas I want to share here. John talked about how he got more confidence and energy and how the principal success path helped him move from idea to action. So that was really powerful for him. And let's see. Actually, that's the last testimonial that I want to share. So if you want to apply, and I think you should, go to betterleadersbetterschools.com/success or /principal success path, all one word. So that is some people's experience. Don't just take it from me. Now there's 13 projects, right? There's 13 projects in this 5-week experience, and I'm going to explain them to you now. Hopefully you find that valuable. These are not in order of how they are revealed within the program, but each project is aligned with the success formula, again, which is mindset, design, culture, results. So let me go through them briefly, okay? One of the projects talks about how to flip assumptions, right, and challenges into opportunities. And that will help you create more value for your school and flip your peers' stinking thinking, right? Not that you got any difficult people on your staff, but if you did, this project will really help you out. Another mindset project, how to apply what I call input thinking to your leadership, which will help you grow your confidence and multiply your results. And then the last sort of mindset project that I want to discuss is something that is available on my website, which is called the Mastermind Mindset Scorecard. There's 12 categories, but what we want you to understand about this, and as it relates to the project, you pick where you currently are now, you talk about where you'd like to go next in relation to those categories of leadership, and then within the path, we collaborate with you on how to make that happen, okay? So that's all I want to say about the mindset projects. Moving on to design, I do have a free course, right? I'm building an ideal week, and you could go do that on your own, right? Within the path, you get to do that with me, Danny, Chief Ruckus Maker, and you get to do it with a whole cohort of peers that are all very interested in how to optimize their time at school, right? And so if you would benefit from designing your ideal week so you could start running the day instead of the day running you, then you're going to love that project specifically. Another project regards to design is called a past year review. And a lot of times, people are thinking about like, what do I add? What do I need to do to do more or be better or grow as a leader? It's actually maybe the wrong question. A lot of the times you need to think about, what do you need to stop doing? What should you exclude? What should never get on your calendar? And so through this project, you will create what I call an avoid at all costs list. And I learned this from Tim Ferriss, and I'm paying it forward through the Principal Success Path and through this project specifically. And then the last design project has to do with empathy. Empathy, like emotional intelligence, they go hand in hand, but these are foundational leadership skills. And by working through a project where we have you create an empathy map and an empathy resource for your district, right, you're able to walk a mile in somebody else's shoes, and you're really able to help people connect with your vision, row in the same direction. And Erin, who I mentioned, hey, don't just take it from me earlier, and she was able to prioritize on stuff. I can tell you as well that I taught this one workshop on empathy for Erin. She had the hardest, the most difficult, most challenging conversation professionally ever the next day. She was walking in there, feeling a certain type of way, and let's say like bringing a couple 2x4s and the whole crew, right? She had some difficult things to share with her colleague. I helped her see this same situation with openness and curiosity and questions and phrases to use. And here's what happened. The difficult conversation went perfect, in her words. She was able to share what she needed to share, and it felt on ears and a mind and a heart that was open to hearing the feedback. So the person didn't put up the walls, didn't take things personally, and was able to receive what she needed to share, which wouldn't have happened, I'm telling you, if she didn't do this project and go through the empathy live training that I do. That's all I have to say about design. So we'll go culture, and then we'll go results. So one culture project would be drawing a culture map, and I want you to understand how information flows, where decisions are made, where they go to die. It's very similar to a political heat map, if you've ever heard of that. Another culture project has to do with understanding the stories we tell, right? And how we create the environment that we experience. So just like the systems that predict the results, in terms of culture, if you want better results, maybe you need to tell a better story. So we work on what makes a good story. How do you become a better communicator as a school leader? And then the last culture project I want to review right here has to do with pleasing versus serving. I don't know if you could relate, but too often do I see school leaders trying to please everybody, which is impossible. You'll always fail at that, versus serve them. And sometimes in service, you have to do things, right, that are difficult and unpopular, but it's the right thing to do. So we talk about that within the path. Okay, so that's all I'm going to say about culture. Let's move on to results. The first project we do that has to do with goals, we have a tried and true process, right, for creating and a matrix that we'll share with you to help you, attain your most ambitious goals for the school year. Another project is, again, about how the best leaders use effective story and how you can become a great storyteller as well. These are skills I'm promising you can practice. And then the last results project I want to talk about is to learn 2 activities that I promise you, when you filter a new project that you're thinking of doing, right? And you're wondering, is it really worth my time and investment? Will it work out? So there's 2 filters to put a project through. And if it passes both filters and passes the quote unquote sniff test, now you're almost guaranteed that the project will succeed. You certainly are more aware of the obstacles that will be in your way and how to overcome them. And if it doesn't pass the sniff test, shut the project down then and there instead of moving forward and getting your heart broken, okay? So that's all I want to say about the 13 projects. Again, go to betterleadersbetterschools.com/success, and you can fill out an application to join the Principal Success Path. Some of you might be wondering, what is the weekly cadence like, right? So the weekly cadence goes something like this. And shout out to all my lovely, lovely friends at the Alt MBA, where I took a sort of system on how they built a program and filtered, right, and put like chief ruckus maker perspective through it, and spoke about education and leadership using a similar system. So we have weekly collaboration groups, and those groups change. We reveal those at the beginning of the week, and we reveal the first 3 projects. Again, you'll do 13 projects. That happens by Monday, right? On Tuesday, I do a special live group training with everybody involved. And those are sort of like a bonus that I'm adding to the Principal Success Path, and you will love it. You'll also have an opportunity to meet with what I call a collaboration pod on Tuesday. When does that happen? That's up to you. Part of the Principal Success Path is being an adult, being a professional, navigating things, right, so that the program works for you. It's very malleable, it's very flexible, and it works for all sorts of people, right? So your group may decide, hey, let's talk about the first project for 30 minutes. Your group might decide, let's talk about it for an hour or 90. It doesn't matter. What matters is that you all decide as a group, right, and come to some sort of consensus. The point of the project in collaborating as a group is to say, hey, this first project on goals, let's say, I'm thinking about approaching it this way, right? Gene over here is going to do it that way. Aaron's thinking about it this way. And now that's all informing our approaches to goals. There's no one right way, but we've all gotten better because of the discussion. Help me see what I don't see, right? Be a mirror. And so that's the beauty of it. By that evening, right, before it becomes Wednesday, so before midnight on Tuesday, you'll ship your first project, okay? That brings us to Wednesday. Wednesday is a feedback day, and we challenge all our participants to generously share feedback on 5 of their colleagues' projects, right? So if you can level up your ability to not only give precise and effective feedback, but also receive it well, this program will serve you. And imagine a space where all these driven, ruckus-making leaders are together, all in service of becoming a better leader, all giving feedback to each other and receiving it. This is going to be a powerful experience. It's been great the first 2 cohorts. So Wednesday is a feedback day. By Thursday, now imagine you've received a bunch of feedback. You've given a bunch of feedback. You've read through a number of projects. Okay, you've changed. You've changed as a leader. So on Thursday, what you're going to do is put a cherry on top of the Principal Success Path experience. You're going to reflect. How have I changed? What do I see that I didn't see before? What would I do differently? What's an experiment I might run, right? And how do I want to evolve and stretch and leap? And so that's what you do on Thursday. Plus, you meet with your collaboration pod again. Totally depends on you in terms of how long that goes for. Now you're discussing the second project. You ship the second project before midnight on Thursday, which brings us to Friday. Fridays for feedback, right? 5 pieces of feedback. Now we're to the weekend, and it's really up to you. Saturday or Sunday, it's whenever you want to meet. But over that time, you're going to write your reflection for your second project. You're going to discuss in your collaboration pod the third project, and you're going to deliver or ship your third project before midnight on Sunday. Then the whole process repeats itself. The only new thing on Monday is that the next 3 projects are revealed. You have new collaboration groups, and you're going to give feedback to what is the third project, right? So that cycle continues for 4.5, 5 weeks. At this point, you should be psyched. I'm telling you, this program is awesome, okay? And again, go to betterleadersbetterschools.com/success or betterleadersbetterschools.com/principal success path, all one word, and you can fill up your application. All right. How much time does it take? That's going to be a common question, right? So I think if you think about it this way, okay, let's say you join the optional live group coaching call, which you absolutely should. Like, this is a bonus. This is me doing teaching, also a lot of engagement, and you participating. You will grow. That's going to be 30 minutes, right? Then let's say the group decides an hour to collaborate. So now we're at an hour and a half. Let's say Thursday, that's another hour, right? So that's 2.5 hours. And then Saturday, another hour or so. So now it's 3.5 hours. Okay. So that's 3.5 hours in collaboration. Then you have to understand like what's going to be your pace. And remember Parkinson's law. What are the constraints that you're going to build in terms of reading over the projects, watching the videos I create, reading through the extra articles that I point you to and that kind of thing, giving feedback, which hint, when I do it, I set a timer and then I move through pretty quickly. So I'm very precise in how long is it going to take you to ship the project, create your reflection. So if it was like, what did I say, 3.5, 4 hours or so in trainings, then I think, 10 might be pushing it, but I would say like between 6 and 10 is a very reasonable expectation for the amount of time investment, right? That you would have there. Okay. And then how much does it cost, right? So I'll tell you this right now. If you bring me in for a full day training, which you should probably consider as well, systems have invested $12,000 to make that amazing full day, blow people's minds, go fast, go deep, right? Make significant change, plant those seeds, inspire, encourage. That was $12,000. Now, when people have bring in for a half day experience, I don't do hourly type things. So either hire me for half a day, even if you need me just for an hour, or if you need me more from that 2.5, 3 hours, you need me full day, right? 12. So it's 12,000, 7,000. Those are the two prices. I can tell you this too. If you join the Mastermind, and that's our flagship way of supporting school leaders, right? Current leaders invest $350 per month. That's $4,200 for the year. Depending on the season, we might be offering a discount of some type and could work with you, right? But really what we're looking at is $350, $4,200. I want to make the path more accessible. I want to live out my mission to connect, grow, and mentor every school leader. I also want to honor the value that, for sure, what we'll be creating for you and how you'll grow, and respect that as well. So it's not 12K, it's not 7K, it is not 4,200. You could actually join the Principal Success Path. And again, go to betterleadersbetterschools.com/success or betterleadersbetterschools.com/Principal Success Path. Fill out your application. The Principal Success Path, you becoming a better leader in 5 weeks or less, it's only $1,500, which is very doable, right? I think we all could agree. Very manageable, whether that's personal funds or school funds. And that brings me to also, we accept personal credit cards. We could do purchase orders if your system wants an estimate, to generate a purchase order and then send an invoice. If you have a school credit card, you could do that too. One thing I will remind you or preview, I guess, on the application is the very last thing is 3 check boxes, right? And that helps me understand how to serve you best, right? A lot of it's like, why is now the right time for you? How do you want to grow? What's exciting you about the program? But the last 3 check boxes just lets me know where you're at. So if you're paying personally and ready to go all in, check that box. That saves us both time, and you can reserve your spot quickly too, because we're only going to allow up to 40 leaders, no more than 40 into the program. So if that's you, check the box. I could send you a link. You could take care of it. You got your spot reserved. The second box is I'm all in, but I'm paying with school funds. So I'll need you to send me an estimate to generate a purchase order. So I see that. I'll send that out to you, and we'll get you going and reserve your spot quickly as well. The third one is just, hey, Danny, I think I'm all in, right? But I still have a few questions. I'd like to set up a time to chat. That is awesome, right? So feel free to do that. Check that box if that's needed. I give out my number, right? So you know it, 312-788-7595. Call, text, WhatsApp, that's also my number. Anyway, feel free to reach out and we'll set something up. If you feel more comfortable via email, it's Daniel@betterleadersbetterschools.com. Again, fill out the application at betterleadersbetterschools.com principal.com/success or betterleadersbetterschools.com/principal success path. Now, if you've watched this video this long, right, or if you are listening on the podcast, I have to speak to two audiences right now. I have a very special bonus for both of those audiences. Okay. If you're listening on the podcast, by the time you get to this application page, it's going to say all the bonuses are gone, right? Because most of them, if you're reading through emails, there are certain things I'm doing. Like, for example, I did a mountain trip that people are enrolled in. It's pretty cool. Like, come hike a mountain with me in the Adirondacks here in upstate New York, and you get a free special event, right, on living an abundant life. Like, that's a super bonus. We could all agree. You get a little fitness, getting outside, get a special in-person training by me. That was, I don't remember if that was 10 or 20. Doesn't matter. That bonus is gone. Some of the other bonuses: delegation masterclass, powerful days course. Everybody gets an autographed book. Everybody gets the live group coaching during the path. So anyways, my point is, you'll get there, you'll see that it's expired, right? Not if you're watching the video. You go there now, you get those bonuses. But if you're listening to the podcast, this will release on July 18th, and you'll see the bonuses are expired. Here's the special secret podcast bonus, and for people watching the video right now too. I'll give you 4 15-minute coaching calls with yours truly, right, to solve whatever your number one problem is, right? And I can tell you from working with my buddy Kyle, who is a guru when it comes to project-based learning. Check out his work, like Kyle Wagner. Go just Google him. He's awesome. Power Simple, 12 shifts in terms of project-based learning. Like, this is good stuff if you're into PBL. Okay. Anyways, when I was picking up a new one-on-one leader to serve, and I'm not taking any more private clients right now. But when this process was happening, I connected him to 2 of my other private clients. And in the new one, Simmer said, well, what's it like to work with Danny? Here's what Kyle said. One, let me see what he said. The biggest impact was clarity, right? Biggest impact that he got was clarity on moving forward. So these 4 15-minute, laser coaching sessions, if you could use clarity, you're definitely going to get that. How to get most out of your time, Kyle said, come prepared. So especially if it's 15 minutes, like, you need to know what you want to talk about, and we're going to get right to it. You may think, oh, I can't get a lot done in 15 minutes. Let me remind you of Parkinson's law, right? And again, Zig Ziglar said, repetition is the mother of all learning. So Parkinson's law is a task expands to the time constraints, right, that you give it. You give me 15 minutes, I'll change your life. Give me, 4 15 minutes, like, you're going to be in a good position, okay? So come prepared. And I'm really tickled and honored that Kyle said this. What can be improved with his coaching? He was really too nice, but he said the improvements on my end. But here's what I love. When I do what Danny says, I see results, right? So the lesson, do what Danny says, right? When I don't, the results waver and are inconsistent, right? Now, there are things I can improve as a coach, right? Staying present. Everybody's mind wanders at some point. Sharpening my skill set, all this kind of stuff. But I can't tell you this, and I say this as humble. Actually, let me tell you a quick story, and here's where we'll end. First, fill out the application, right? betterleadersbetterschools.com/success. Like, by now, you should be super pumped. If you're not, either I did a terrible job, but I'm obviously having fun. So you don't have a pulse if you don't want this, right? So I want to help you grow as a school leader. That's my promise. It'll happen in 5 weeks or less. All right. What was I saying? Oh, yeah. So when I first invested in myself, okay, I joined something called Podcaster's Paradise. It's still a thing, I'm pretty sure. Back then, it was a lifetime membership, thank God, because now it's like an annual, monthly thing. Excuse me, not an annual, a monthly thing. And anyways, it was $1,200, $97 a month, or $190, I don't know. The point is, I had never spent that much money on myself ever. And I was really wondering, am I worth it? Is pursuing a podcast and trying to make it good, and what is even a good podcast? Is that worth 12? Do people really do that, right? And I'm so glad I did, because what I can tell you, all the things that I learned there, I probably could have learned. A lot of it I could have figured out too, just Googling things too. But here's what I didn't want to do. I didn't want to waste time. And I didn't want the, school of hard knocks and failure, right, to teach me the lessons that I would have learned along the way, right? So everything I teach in the Principal Success Path, honestly, like, you could learn those things, but it's going to take you years, if not decades, to get the insights. Or like me with Podcasters Paradise, you could say, I'm going to invest in this thing. I'm going to have return on investment for years to come. And I'm going to speed up my understanding, right, and proficiency in this area. I think we could agree, right? Like, it worked. A small school called Harvard sponsors the podcast. Like, seriously, right? The show has now over 1.6 million downloads. If you combine my two shows, over 2.2 million downloads. Compared to every global show, that's almost 3 million shows in the world, right? It's in the top 0.5%. So my point here, that scary investment worked because it sped up my aptitude, right, and my proficiency regarding podcasts. That leads me to say today, right, I have literally spent just over $40,000 in 2022 on personal coaching and masterminds, right? Believe me. And so one of the questions you also have to ask yourself, if I've been doing that to sharpen my skill set, to grow myself, what's the value you're going to experience from me bringing all that I've learned through the coaching to you through a program like the Principal Success Path? Or maybe you're part of the special bonus, which, by the way, if I didn't say it, that's only up to the first 10 people that apply. And I don't think I said this too, so I hope you're still listening and watching. You need to put in the application in the anything else section that you heard about the bonus, because obviously the bonuses have expired, right? So if you want the laser coaching sessions, just put that. I'll know what it is. If there's 10 left and you have reserved your spot, right, and paid for the program, then I will happily serve you one-on-one, okay? So that's the Principal Success Path. It's built on mindset, design, culture, and results. It's a wonderful program. Over 50 leaders have gone through the first two cohorts. This third cohort is 5 weeks, July 31st to September 1st. It would be my honor and privilege to serve you inside it. Go fill out your application, betterleadersbetterschools.com/success or betterleadersbetterschools.com, Principal Success Path. Bye for now, and go make a ruckus.